Good morning, 2:45 a.m. So otherwise I have also one out of the Japan and voir Sunday. So our most beloved Heavenly Parents, we pray that today, Sunday, January 2016. We pray for two mothers, two children, two grandchildren, two family members, two fathers who is in the spirit world. We pray for the unity always, and we pray for all brothers and sisters who are taking care of us. We pray as well for all the people there in the international headquarters, from our elder sister Benjamin and her husband Richardson, and the staff and all the umbrella organizations, including the UPS chairman, Mr. Cheon Seong Gyeong, and all the continental leaders all over the world, including Athanasius Francis C and all the national leaders all over the world. Especially the American Reverend Dr. Michael Boston, his wife Fumi, his staff, the Reverend Stevens, the Forest Worker Steve, and the district, all the districts and regions all over the world, especially here in this morning we pray for Reverend Aaron Patton and his wife Lisa Patton, and all the pastors, assistant pastors, and center leaders all over the world. We pray for the Tolkien Center, the Reverend James Stewart, all the way down to Norfolk. We pray for Reverend Zagery Oliver. And in Richmond, Father Eden Bayer, and in Belgium, we pray for Mr. June in Northern Virginia, and in Maryland, Reverend Robert Love and his wife and child, co-pastor Hyo Jin Moon and Reverend Zagery Oliver. We pray for their success always. We pray here in Washington D.C. We pray for Reverend Zagery Oliver, his wife Fumi, and the daughter Brianna, assistant pastor Cheon Seong Gyeong, and Reverend and all the councils and blessed families are connected to this church. We pray for the safety always, for prosperity and goodness, and we pray for all the blessed children, second generation, all our blessed families that number from 5 couples and single ones. We pray for their success and protection always as they prepare themselves for the blessing on Zagery Oliver. We pray always in all names and in my name, Athanasius Francis C, Catalan, and you. Good morning. We're now on page 443. And we're now on number 17. True parents are horizontal beings, and horizontal beings need a vertical being, heavenly parent. It is our heart that resembles the vertical parent. It is our conscience that inherits vertical love, life, and lineage, and it is one body that inherits the horizontal love, life, and lineage. God can only settle in a place where human beings join in a virtuous union, where their human hearts and heaven's heart are joined at a 90-degree angle. From that place all fortune springs and flows, and the world of eternal happiness and blessings begins. We must form this kind of heavenly kingdom in the family. When this kind of life expands, it becomes the world. 18. We should know God's love. We should know the love of our parents and learn how to attend them. We should know conjugal love and learn how to serve our spouse. We should know our children's love and learn how to understand and support them, not just give them directions. Only then can we understand God's love. We need parents, spouse, and children as the textbooks of love. Unless we have children, we are incomplete and cannot understand God's love, because we cannot understand how much God loves us, His children. Unless you are a husband, you cannot know a wife's love. And unless you are a wife, you cannot know a husband's love. Children do not know what parents' love is like until they become parents. Children, spouse, and parents are textbooks to learn from. Hence, without sons and daughters, you cannot be true parents. You need your parents, your spouse, and your children, so you can become first-class products that meet the standards of the original principle. Only then will the universe stamp you with its seal of approval as grade A products that can experience God's love. Then you will go into the kingdom of heaven automatically. 19. One who is always able to discern whether God is happy or sad cannot become an evil person even if he or she thinks to do so. He or she cannot go against the law of heaven, even if he or she tries. The kind of person God deplores the most is the one who tries to use other people, whether in a private or public setting. Also, God deplores those who evaluate matters based only on their self-benefit. The people God cherishes are those who yield to others. To yield means that you continually follow the person to whom you yield. We're now on page 444. You continually do what that person says. If you keep on doing it, you will find yourself orbiting in a circle, and you will end up acquiring that person's position. In the end, you can possess everything that person owns. Number 20. To your partner, you should always be meek and humble. You should submit, obey, and surrender yourself to him or her. You do this in order to win him or her over completely. But to win him or her over in every respect. Likewise, in the world of faith, you must use the strategy of denying yourself and completely complying with your leader's desires. This strategy is not to make you cease to exist, but to win him or her over completely. This is something of which you should be aware in your everyday life. 21. Arrogance is your enemy. Arrogance and insisting on your own way are the essence and character of Satan. So instead of being arrogant, you should be modest. Instead of insisting on your own way, you should be humble. Harmony creates friendship. Thus, you should be able to bring harmony to everyone. If you can do that, everything will start to flow. If people fail to unite in harmony, nothing greater can come. Lack of harmony leads to stagnation. Therefore, you must not give in to jealousy or envy, which along with arrogance and insisting on your own way are the essence of Satan's nature. Now, 22. The work of the Unification Church is to transform people into saints. Great people have to face enemies, but saints do not regard anyone as an enemy. Great people love their own people, but saints love all humankind. Therefore, when great people seek to stand before God, He tells them, "You love your own people, but you fail to love all the people of the world, whom I love and am trying to save." Isn't that so? Hearing that, they are not able to stand in His presence. On the other hand, those who fulfill the duties of saints can go directly into His presence. The Unification Church works on transforming people into saints. 23. Those who worship God need to shed their blood. Those who love God must shed tears. In fact, tears should not dry from their eyes. Those who seek God must shed sweat. Then, with the heart of a parent and in the shoes of a servant, they must sacrifice and serve humanity from the position of Abel, giving everything they have with an utmost devotion. In giving, they should not boast on others, but rather feel sorry that they cannot give something better. This is what Godism is all about. 24. The reason I stay up all night meeting with people is so that I can love everyone. If I dislike anyone, I could not take responsibility for the work of restoration. I have to love everyone, the good and the bad. Unless I love everyone, I cannot represent God. The fall means that the first human ancestors fell down from God's world to the opposite place. The fall caused the world to plummet to a bad place. Nevertheless, if God were to say that this world was bad, He could not be God. He could not fulfill the work of restoration. When God created the world, all the while He said it was good. He could not be God anymore. If He said this world had become bad because of the fall, that is why it is a principle to treat even bad things as good things. That is why Jesus said, love your enemy, on Matthew chapter 6, verse 44. 25. To love your enemy means that you stand in a position where you do not have an enemy. To stand in that position means that you return to the original position in the original world, to the Garden of Eden, which has nothing to do with the realm of the fall. Therefore, when you meet someone for the first time, do not reckon him to be a bad person, even if he is. Subtopic: the life of true patriot and filial child. 26. You must become families who can settle at the position of high noon, where no shadows is cast. The Garden of Eden was a place of true love, without any shadows. In love, there is no shadows. That is why everything in the world wants to come and be in that place. In the position of high noon, no one asserts his or herself. It is the place of absolute faith, absolute love, and absolute obedience. There is no assertion of self. This is what happens to everyone in the presence of true love. Adam's family must be established as a family without shadows. Then from it will emerge Adam's tribe, Adam's people, Adam's nation, and Adam's world. 27. There must be a place of Sabbath without shadows, where God can come and freely settle anyone, anytime. He likes day or night. Establishing such a place is God's ideal of creation. Therefore, the reason we live as we do, seeking that place, is to attend God as our eternal Father. From the individual level all the way up, even in the heavenly world, and to become families of filial sons and daughters, patriotic men and women, saintly couples and divine sons and daughters. Through such families, God can freely travel anywhere He wants. The kingdom of heaven on earth and the kingdom of heaven in heaven will be realized when the world without any shadows is connected to heaven and earth. This world is where God can travel freely back and forth, visit anyone from the youngest family to countless generations of our ancestors, all at once, and reach heaven and earth in all four directions as He pleases. That is why the place of settlement at high noon, where no shadow is cast, must come. 28. You are not to live a life with shadows. Therefore, I proclaim the high noon settlement. It is a marvelous concept, for there to be no shadows. Mind and body must be united, and the family must be united as a four-position foundation. If the father did something wrong, he would create a father's shadow. If the mother did something wrong, she would make a mother's shadow. If there were four members in the family and the four could not settle down, then the light would be blocked. No one likes the place of shadows. That is why we must achieve the high noon settlement. There shouldn't be any shadows, even after we go to the next world. God travels through the vertical line of 8 stages from the shadow, free individual to the shadow, free family, tribe, people, nation, world, cosmos, and God. Can there be any shadow cast on God's love? If it is purity itself, even in his or her flesh and blood. No one likes shadows. The shadow is Satan. This is why whenever we do wrong, we tend to cover it up. That is the enemy. That is the barrier. You must break down the barrier if you have to have high noon settlement. I'm not saying that saying this just symbolically. It must be done. 29. In front of the true parents, we must fulfill our duties as true filial children, true patriarchs, true saints, and true divine sons and daughters. Only then can God's kingship be established. The kingship of the heavenly nation is based on expanding the authority of the sons and daughters who attend the true parents. Once the kingship is established, God will be enthroned and Satan's world will disappear. 30. From now, we need to establish a new tradition with the family as the center, based on the tradition of those who lived their lives as patriots, saints, and divine sons and daughters. For this, we need to replace the tradition that existed during the age of indemnity. This new tradition is what we will follow for eternity in the kingdom of heaven. Centering on the family, we should establish the ways of true filial sons and daughters, true husbands and wives who are faithful to each other, and true patriots, and prepare the ways of saints and divine sons and daughters. We have to prepare these ways here on earth. So already 5:32, and tomorrow we'll be reading on page 447 a new chapter, chapter 4, the life course of true men and women. So today we started on page 443 on 17. This is under the life of a true human being. So is there anybody who wants to share about our readings today from number 17 and the last subtopic, the life of a true patriot and filial child. The 443. Number 17, the true parents are horizontal beings. And horizontal beings need a vertical being, heavenly parent. So it is powerful. It is our heart that resembles the vertical parent. It is our conscience that inherits vertical love, life and lineage, and it is our body that inherits horizontal love, life and lineage. So God can only settle in the place where human beings join in virtuous union, where their human hearts and heaven's heart are joined at a 90-degree angle. So from that place all fortune springs and flows, and the world of eternal happiness and blessings begins. We must form this kind of heavenly kingdom in the family. When this kind of life expands, it becomes the world.
That's number 17.
Yes, yeah, that's where we start today. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Very powerful. Thank you.
Yes. So what is trying to me today is on 22 on page 444. It says here that the work of the Unification Church is to transform people into saints. So great people have to face enemies, but saints do not regard anyone as an enemy. So I'm inspired with this because of the book of our true father, the global peace-loving citizen. He transformed many brothers and sisters into global peace-loving citizens. So we love peace. We don't need to fight, And as we learn today, it's our church. The work of our church is to transform people into saints. So even Father mentions here that great people love their own people, but saints love all humankind. Therefore, when great people seek to stand before God, He tells them, you love your own people, but you fail to love all the people of the world, to whom I love and I'm trying to save. Isn't that so? So hearing that they are not able to stand in His presence. So these are great people. All the great people even in history, because they love only the country. So we have to go beyond, or even their own people. We have to go beyond that. We have to transcend. We have to love all, even races, all nations, even though it is even a former enemy country, as we have learned in the previous chapters. Our American and German brothers should love Japan and the enemy nations like Italy and the ones that their country were enemies before. So Father mentions here that on the other hand, those who fulfill the duties of saints can go directly into His presence. The Unification Church works on transforming people into saints. So one time we placed a two parents picture with, commemorating the ascension of our true Father. So it was there for a while, for a week. Then somebody wrote there, Jew hater. So there was a time that we took this poster outside. Because these people doesn't know that we really don't really hate Jews, but of course it was these people who did not recognize Christ. So if they have recognized Christ, they should have not crucified Him. If they know, if God already planned that Jesus would will be killed, He can just send them to the barbarians to be killed. But God has a plan for this world. That's why He sent the Messiah. And the Messiah should have been Emmanuel, a wise counselor, a great father. And He was prophesied to be the King of Kings. But He never came to be. So I'm sorry for that person who doesn't understand even a true father, a true parents. And we should reach out to the person or everyone else, because we here don't hate any race or any particular kind of people. And I think they know about that because of our works and the projects like the religious youth service. Yes. Okay, we're kicked out, but we're still here. Still have recording here. So we're here. I'm still here. So hello, Ronaldo, you're still there? Yeah, we're kicked out, so I'm back. Yeah, so what is significant also today's reading is about the principle on page 445. after the fall. That is why it is a principle to treat every bad thing as good things. That is why Jesus said, love your enemy in Matthew chapter 6, verse 44. On the next paragraph here, to love your enemy means that you stand in a position where you do not have an enemy. To stand in that position means that you return to the original position in the original world, to the Garden of Eden, which has nothing to do with the realm of the fall. This is what we are fighting for. So everyone can return to that state. Therefore, when you meet someone for the first time, Father advises us, do not reckon him to be a bad person, even if he is. So we treat, of course, everyone has original value, original mind, even though he's bad, or so even sometimes first impressions. But there are, some people who come from the same island, the same hometown, and you meet here somewhere in a faraway place like here in America. And I talked to the husband of this lady, but she seemed not to. I tried to connect with her, but she seemed not interested. Or I said, "Oh, we come from the same place, and your husband is telling me all about our place." But of course, it's sad because even some people who said, "Oh, we come from the same nation," and they'll tell you, "Yeah, but of course we're different." So there should be no difference. And they have even their own organization. They want to change the name of a nation to a different one. So it's always divisive. But of course, we come from the Unification Church. We want to unite with all kinds of people, even our own people, who wants to be not belong to our own people. So, is there anyone else who wants to share about our reading today? And of course, we read about the high noon settlement, that there's no shadow, the life of a true patriot and filial child, and we read here on page 446, number 29, in front of the true parents, we must fulfill our duties as true filial children, true patriots, true saints, and true divine sons and daughters, as if in our family pledge. Only then can God's kingship be established. So the kingship of heavenly nations is based on the expanding the authority of the sons and daughters who attend the true parents. So once the kingship is established, God will be enthroned and Satan's world will disappear. So we're in very trying times right now, that of course we are the sons and daughters who attend the true parents. So it's lamentable that we have schisms and schismatic, which is other people who want to be different from the whole. But right now we need to be united, and we encourage each other not to be divisive, but unite as our church's name speaks for itself. So even Father also then he said from now on we establish a new tradition with the family as its center based on the tradition of those who live their lives as patriots, saints, and divine sons and daughters. For this we need to replace the traditions that existed in the age of indemnity. So we're now in Chungil group. We have this tradition, even this Hoon Dok, that we read about Father's words. And of course, we have a book of tradition, which is the way we attend Sungwa, we attend the 8-day birth of a child, and many of these traditions, we need to forego traditions of the tradition that existed in the age of indemnity, because those, are totally different, and of course those are totally they use, of course, they want to use to bless water to bless many animals, objects and everything. But for us, anything we acquire, we holy salt these things by, placing it in front on the north, south, east, west, and in our name, that those things that we acquire will be claimed by God, because all things were claimed by the dark side, and we are always holy salting many properties and many things as much as possible. And even in the blessing, I saw some brothers and sisters, they want to bless these houses that we give holy wine to, so that the spirits there would not, bad spirits would not be there. So now it's already 5:49. Any more words of encouragement or inspiration today? So if there is none, let's all rise and have unison prayer. Our most beloved Heavenly Parents, we're so thankful for all inspiration. Even last night, the team from Washington D.C. won against Orlando. Washington Reserve won against Orlando Magic. We pray that all these teams are here in this most powerful city in this nation. We pray that they can go over to even the playoffs, and we pray that we too can bring, like in the playoffs, in the foundation day, all people, more than 5 people that we have right now, and more than the people who are living in sin. They are just having relationships without the blessing of our two parents, and even in their own churches. We pray that we meet these people today. St. Michael's Church, or even here today, we pray we can encourage them to get the blessing, and even individuals too. We pray that we can encourage all the even office mates and our town mates, and even the people of our own nation. And here in America, we pray we can guide them so that they will have the blessing and they can correct and liberate also their ancestors. We pray for each other's success as we do natural witnessing and doing a lot of effort for a 3-day workshop, a 2-day workshop, or the 1-day workshop. And we pray for each other's success as we pray all of this in all our names and in my name. I Athanasius Francis C. Catalan, blessed single time. Aju, aju, aju. Uri etonen son, numeros son, imo, combato, Good morning to you, our true teachers, our true parents of heaven and earth and humankind. Good morning to the true church, true grandchildren, and all our brothers and sisters. Good morning. Yes, good morning, Reverend Oliver. Good morning, everyone. Have a great and wonderful Sunday. See you here before 10, yes, today. You're welcome.